Okay, let's kick starts, and others will be joining in as well. So I see Martin added. No problem, Cedric. All right, let's kick start. I'm sharing my screen, and today we are going to talk about fixing outdated processes without buying new software, doing more with less. This topic may mean different things for different people, so we may have different perspectives on that. The intent is not for me to share my perspective only. The intent is really we want to have a dialogue. So please, I encourage everyone to share your perspectives on the call. So welcome all. This is about a dialogue, and the intent is not for me to run through the session and say goodbye to everyone. I could just quite easily record the session. What we want is dialogue. So I'll encourage everyone to contribute, share your perspective. There is no good, bad sort of perspectives. Contribute what you think, contribute what you see. It's an open dialogue among us. We want to make it real. Okay, so the recording will be available on our website. So Harley will share the recording with all of you. There's no need to take notes, and we'll go with introductions. So we'll go around the room with quick introductions, and we'll kickstart the session. So I'll start with myself. My name is SP Singh. I'm from Bani Consulting. We partner with medium-sized businesses, understand where they are, where they want to be from business goals perspective, and we help them achieve their business goals through technology. Along with me, I've got Harley. And Harley, I would like you to introduce yourself, man.
Okay, thank you, SB. Hello, everyone. My name is Harley. I'm the project coordinator of SB. If you encounter any problem on your system, just let me know and I'll be happy to assist you. Thank you, SB.
Yes, Harley. Thank you. Chess, over to you.
Yeah, hi everybody. My name is Charles Richter. I've been in IT and business for something like 53 years now. Developed my own strategic planning and technique and software.
Thank you. Cedric.
Hi everyone, my name is Cedric. I work for a not-for-profit Aboriginal corporations. I help them with their processes in their ERP system.
Thank you, Cedric. Sian, if I'm saying your name right.
That's okay. It's Sean. It's a delightful Welsh name. That's okay. So I run a social enterprise called Unordinary. I've basically been a career consultant, predominantly in change, but more about connecting humans to technology and helping them understand that it's all okay and it's, we can come on board and nothing's going to explode and you're not doing anything wrong and all that kind of stuff. That's a lot of the conversations I have on day to day.
That's great. Welcome, Sean. Stephen.
Hi all. Yep, my name's Stephen. I've just recently started a strategic advisory practice helping medium-sized businesses get strategic clarity at that top end, so business and corporate strategy work. My background is in IT though, so deep passion for IT and its importance.
Thank you, Stephen. Gavin.
G'day, Gavin Strack. I'm an engineer in the automation, control systems, telecoms, functional safety space. Most of my career is in mining, mineral processing, a little bit of defense and telco. Currently one of the principal engineers at Sage Automation. I think they're one of the larger E&I system integrators in Australia, and I'm also a member of the Engineers Australia WA Division Committee, and I'm also on the board of the Gravity Discovery Centre out at Gingin, and I do a bit of freelance software development and stuff on the side, so a bit of everything.
Good on you, Gavin. Thank you. Warwick?
Sorry, hi. Yeah, Warwick Hill. Generally, I suppose, describe myself as an account exec for various large IT consulting firms. So I've worked with IBM, Pricewaterhouse, most lately Cognizant. So working across the mining, oil and gas sector in sales and overseeing delivery.
Thank you, Warwick. John?
Afternoon, everyone. My name's John, CFO for an Aboriginal corporation. We provide power, water, essential services, housing, and environmental support across the remote communities in the Pilbara and Midwest. Also on the Joondalup Council, so got a bit of exposure to commercial and local government world.
Thank you, John. All right, welcome all. Again, this session is for you, and let's get into it. So I'm sharing my screen. If you cannot see my screen, please let me know. Let us cover the software shopping trap, and after this, please let me know if you haven't seen it or you don't think it's common. So what I see very often is we have a software shopping trap among organizations where each department in their own silo, they go for a shopping and acquire a new software. Over a period of time, this trend continues in other departments, and each now department have their own little software. So finance have their software, operations, supply chain, quality management. Each department have their own separate software. Over a period of time, there are add-ons which are added to their enterprise software. The software is not optimally configured because of different reasons. Over a period of time, people come and go, and people try to work around the software. It is badly configured, not integrated, not maintained well. And then the total cost of ownership goes high because of all these extras which are added over a period of time. And if we say what we hear from the client is it's a mess, but that mess starts with a very micro decisions at a department level. Over a period of time, we feel or the organizations feel that we are investing in technology, we are investing in software, but we ended up in one big mess. And this shopping trap is very common. So I'll stop there, and anyone you feel like, okay, this is, I have seen this, does it resonate with anyone? Okay, John?
Absolutely.
Stephen?
Yeah, particularly in simple local government, we're a large organisation, very siloed, and software just gets added, and I think there's a lack of awareness of all the softwares because each area has its budget and sign-offs and expenditure, and where you've got to actually the other year to seek a special report, the list of every software subscription that they had that they incurred for the year. But I don't think they did anything with it, so I'll have to request that similar report again to get an update. It's frightening what software gets added in, and there seems to be a lack of coordination towards getting to an endpoint where it all works together.
Certainly. Yeah, so this is a common thing which we see, and that happens for a reason, and we'll unpack this in a little bit more detail. So the common trend is this: organizations invest in technology, so they procure software. Over a period of time, we have complexity that naturally comes, and there are different reasons why this complexity rises. The end result is that we have now multitude of software that are configured not optimally, they are not integrated well, people are not trained on the software, And over a period of time, we have each multitude of software sitting in each and every department that does not talk to each other. New people come, so the staff turnover, new people come, they are not trained well on the software assets, and they've tried to work around the system over a period of time. Okay, and to do anything and within IT systems is complex because no one knows in entirety what assets we have, what infrastructure they sit on, how they will talk to each other, how we can get reporting at an enterprise level. So this is a very common trend in most medium-sized businesses. So it's not that we are not investing in technology. We are investing in technology because of certain reasons. The complexity rises and the total cost of ownership rises, but the benefits goes south with increased complexity and a lack of transparency. Now the question is, okay, we all understand this happens, but why does this happen? So what are the reasons for software shopping trap? I feel there can be many reasons, but 3 reasons I'll share, and then we'll ask the room what reasons they see from their perspective. So the 3 main reasons I believe why we are stuck in the software shopping trap is SaaS is so available, and now we have got multitude of software as a service subscription tools and AI tools. If I have a problem, I subscribe to a software, my team starts to use it, then I move on, so I'm replaced by someone else, and a new person starts their own journey. We don't have a process in place to train and manage and maintain the software assets. We don't think big as well, and that comes to the second point where we have decentralized decisions. So if I am in finance, I think about finance and implement a finance system. If I am sitting in, say, supply chain, I'm specifically looking in my area. So each silo is looking within their individual department, and the decisions are the procurement and software decisions are decentralized. The third element is we prioritize speed over discipline. I think we all are aware, of people within this space, they are aware that there are certain things, certain tick box that must be ticked before we make a procurement decision. But there is an effort and time involved. Hence, we say, okay, it's too much of work, or we don't have time for this. It is so straightforward. Let's procure this because it works. It worked in my previous organization. Let's do it. So roll our sleeves and get into it. So we prioritize speed over a disciplined approach. We'll unpack this in a little bit more detail, but I want to stop there and maybe go to the room and seek there. What do you see in your organizations or from your prior organization, prior experience? What are the underlying reasons you think for this software shopping trap?
Well, I've got one suggestion, and that is basically bad database design.
That's right. So, yep, thank you for that, Sean. So we'll unpack that in a little bit more detail, and I'll circle back. And sorry, Sean, you go.
Oh, I was just going to say, I didn't mention I'm in Canberra, so a lot of the time, well, if you've ever worked in defence, you'll understand why there's a lot of this thing, but also from departments such as like education's a classic one, environment's another. They get mogged together, they get mogged apart. They, each time they pick up more of a data debt and more of a software debt as well.
Yep. That's great. I'll circle back to both of the comments in a little bit more detail to see the underlying reasons. Mohammed, over to you.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, it is really what's happening with organizations, because a lot of the time some people know one software in one department, and they seem to think that that software will work for their department and they can implement it for their team, but they at a broader level, there's no communication so that the whole organization can be involved and can look at a system that can be scalable and that can serve the whole organization as a one ERP, instead of having multiple different systems for different departments that will work well, and then having those small systems and then connecting them to different systems that will create different complexities. So those are some of the reasons that some people just follow what they have worked with and what they think will work well, instead of thinking of the broader organization level.
Feedback. Thank you, Mohammed. We got a thumbs up there from Cedric, and over to you, Stephen.
Yeah, I was just going to shout out Sean. That's a great one on the blog. I've seen that a lot. I also think there's a social dynamic to this. It's just the CIOs and the IT departments create quite restrictive processes for procurement, and it's not commonly understood by those people who have alternative, easier options like a company credit card to just go procure something. And there's not a true understanding of the total cost of ownership of that procurement, whether it's software in this case or something else, but shadow IT in general. But software is the easy one because it's so affordable.
Absolutely. Yeah, and yeah, that aligns well with decentralized decision and SaaS. And underlying reason could be at some point IT maybe is too hard to deal with, and we have find the alternative ways to procure. Okay, Warwick.
Yeah, thanks. So as mentioned, I've been working mainly across mining, oil and gas, and interested to hear Chaz's thoughts on this as well. But I found in those industries, you get a lot of people who are very much sort of driven by their own KPIs, which are not necessarily set in accordance with other parts of the business. So they'll just go off and procure things which make their business work well without that long-term consideration of the broader impact. BHP I've managed on and off about 10, 15 years, and they have this process where initially the IT projects are being managed centrally, but the various mining assets, the iron ore, nickel and so on, get frustrated and get caught up in bureaucracy, trying to get things to actually happen. So they just rebel, and eventually the budgets for IT projects go back to those operating assets. Corporate loses control. So it's a balance between having some structure and coordination in place without slowing things down.
I agree. And yeah, I think balance is must. So yeah, well, circle back to the comments which you have all shared, and thank you all. And I think now the next slide, which is really a solution to few of the things which we should be considering, so we are not stuck with the software shopping trap. And that's few of the comments that Charles and Sean has made. The first thing is architecture. So what we should consider is that we think top down. If I'm building my house, if I start building the first room and the second room, and everyone is taking care of their own room, there's no doubt that we will be stuck in a mess. Instead, I must start with an architecture. I must start with a blueprint, and same is true for our IT assets. One of the first things we must consider is a centralized architecture where we understand how these building blocks will hang together. So we have clarity on our blueprint. We'll cover that in a bit more detail. The second aspect is continuous improvement. And the basic premise is we optimally utilize what we have already. That means the software assets which we have procured already, which we are using already, we must have a process to optimally utilize those assets. The third is process improvement, where we start to think end to end. So rather than we care about what's happening in finance or operations or quality improvement, we focus on end to end. So these are, I feel, three pillars. If we can get it right, then I think we are not going to be stuck in the software shopping trap, because when I'm making decisions for my department, I take into consideration the architecture. I consult and get the right people in my team to say how my software is going to be organized or followed through the architecture blueprint. So these three pillars we are going to unpack in a bit more details. Few of the feedback which you have shared already, I think it's aligned. So let's cover first in a bit more detail and go around the room as well. So when we say architecture, it is quite sort of straightforward aspect. We all understand it's a simple blueprint that tells, we start with end in mind and have the understanding how our individual building blocks will be hanging together. Now, this is a discipline. We are not going to share in a detail level what it is and what it is not, but to share a few examples. When I say architecture, one of the aspects of architecture is business architecture. So we have clarity on our business strategy and direction. So are we expanding or are we contracting? If we are expanding, are we expanding? So this is strategy, nothing to do with IT. So if we are expanding, are we expanding through acquisition, or the strategy is organic growth? If we are contracting, so are we going to sell? Are we going to consolidate? So what the business goals and strategy is? We have clarity on our business capabilities at an executive level, core services level, and enabling services level. So enabling services being finance, IT, quality management, and so forth. So we have clarity on what business capabilities we have end to end at each level: core services, enabling services, and executive services, end to end value streams and processes, and how the organization is grouped together. Now, it sounds too much, but I think this is, if we have the clarity of business architecture, then we can make wise decisions that are aligned to our business architecture. The software which I'm procuring is going to support what we have got in our business architecture. What we see is, that's just another thing. There is a business architecture team which is involved in drawing pretty diagrams, then no one looks at it. Again, the other extreme is everything is driven through them. And as Warwick said, we need to have a balance. But I think this is a must-have, and then a right balance where the right teams, in a decentralized way, they are getting consulting and support from what our business architectures tells us. The next aspect is systems architecture. This is a discipline, so I'm not going into too much detail, but just to touch the surface, what we mean by architecture. So systems architecture tells us how these different systems will be hanging together from an infrastructure aspect, data, application, and presentation layer aspect. So how these different systems are going to be hanging together. So we have clarity on, if you're procuring new software, how the new software is going to be integrated with other applications for end-to-end benefit. So that's quickly the first pillar we have covered. I'll go through the rest and we'll open for your feedback and perspectives. The second aspect or second pillar is continuous improvement. That is, the basic premise is, whatever we have, we optimally utilize it. And it starts with ownership at three different levels. So we choose within our department or within our organization who are the system owners, people who own the systems, who are accountable to make sure the systems are kept up to date. There are trainings, so if the new people come, there's proper training that we offer them. The enhancements are implemented on timely basis. So we are keeping our systems up, fresh and up to date. The second aspect is data owners. The data owners, which could be systems owners, but they are responsible and accountable for making sure that data quality and security is maintained at an enterprise level. And then third one is process owners who are accountable for end-to-end processes. So once we have these owners, then continuous improvement would make sense because we have got people which we can consult in, get involved, and they are the ones who are custodians of these individual pillars. So that's one. Again, continuous improvement is a discipline, but it starts with ownership, and we could start with the basic ownership of these three pillars, and then we set KPIs from a continuous improvement side, so we can assess whether the effort which we are taking on the continuous improvement, are we going ahead or are we going backwards? So how we are tracking on this effort is tracked through the KPIs. Now these KPIs are not general, so they may or may not suit your or your client's organization needs, but we certainly have certain KPIs that help us to understand, are we improving or things are going other way. So that's the second pillar. The third and the very important one is the process improvement. And then when we say process improvement, we want to make sure this is not siloed, this is end to end. So we start to look things end to end, and here are a few sort of examples. So in this source to pay, we have source, requisition, purchase orders. This is a procurement team, and then finance teams from accounts receivable accounts payable comes at the later stage, but we look end to end. Order to cash, again, if we have sales team involvement in quote and orders. From orders to fulfillment, we have got, say, operations team, and invoicing and collect, we've got finance team. So all of a sudden we have got three teams, and we're looking processes end to end. And similarly, hire to retire, same thing. So we're looking things end to end. What we see is procurement team is looking into there, and again, the silos which we have covered already. So when we say process improvement, it is not improvement within individual department, it is end-to-end improvement. That's where we see the value that we can offer to the end customer or the baseline. Okay, so I'll try to conclude, and I would like to spend rest of the time discussing things in a little bit more detail and seek your feedback. Okay, this is the closing thoughts now. So when we say process, the process, we have covered three pillars. Architecture is one, continuous improvement second, and end-to-end process third. So we should encourage our teams. It's okay to procure software. It is okay to be decentralized, but these three pillars must be in place so we can get value for the investments which we are making, and we're not heading towards the mess which we have shared before. The second aspect is if we do not have a structure, so if we do not have a structure of architecture, continuous improvement, and end-to-end processes, and just sheer effort, it is just going to be ending up in waste. So more effort or quick decisions are not going to help anyone. It is going to be sheer waste. So structure is must. And the third, but really, really important, is that when we procure a new software, implement new software, we have a sense of achievement. So operations team may think, oh yes, we've got a new software, it's implemented, now things are automated. But more tools, more software, they're like toys. We can start procuring too many, get a bit of false sense of achievement, but we are just going to be busy over a period of time. So it's short-term dopamine hit, like any other product. But if we do not have an architecture or things are not aligned to architecture, if we do not have continuous improvement in place from a structure perspective, and you're not thinking end to end, new software is not going to help. We're just going to be busy. That's what we will see in future. So this is concluding the topic, and would love to seek what do you see open for like a proper discussion. So over to you all.
Well, from my perspective, again, just as databases are badly designed, KPIs are badly designed. So if you're going to try and get the architecture right, you're going to have to get the architecture of the KPIs correct first and foremost. And that to me is the biggest problem, because what is a KPI? And if you don't get that right, it really doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter what software you implement, you're always going to have a problem. And the only way some people seem to solve that problem is to bring in technical writers. And the technical writer is going to sit down and going to document the software to try and make it easier for users to use. But the problem is, again, what are they documenting? They're documenting database designs. And to try and get your KPIs designed properly, you need a structure. Your architecture in today's world is absolutely helter-skelter. It's anything you can use. You know, you want Zachman, throw in Zachman. You want something like TOGAF, throw in TOGAF. They're all basically much of a muchness, but they do not follow, as far as I'm concerned, a Kantian viewpoint. I'm going back to 1778 or whatever it was when Kant wrote his second version of his Critique of Pure Reason. If you don't understand that, it really doesn't matter what you do. I mean, you might as well try and implement AI. I mean, for that matter, you know, throw in LLMs, see if an LLM is going to help you. It's not. If you can't get your KPIs right, if you can't classify what a KPI is and how the KPI actually matches and works towards the value of the company, it doesn't really matter. I mean, you're never going to get anywhere. So architecture is important. Yes, I agree. It is. It's terribly important. But how do you architect something? As to me, business architecture is only one component of information. So if you can install an information architecture, well, now you've got a chance. Everything else, well, I mean, it's all much of a muchness. You know, throw in AI, throw in billions and trillions of dollars into AI, Anthropic, OpenAI, Meta. Yeah, go ahead. Nothing's going to work as far as I'm concerned, because your basics are not right. And if you want to go back to Kant and look at how he did it, yes, he had an idea. You have theory and you have practice. The problem that I saw with Kant is that his practice wasn't designed properly. But if you read it properly, you can actually see a structure that he actually came up with. It works. It actually does work, because in 1990, I actually implemented Kant. Without even knowing Kant, I somehow stumbled onto it. So yes, if you want an information architecture, you're going to have to consider information architecture rather than business architecture, IT architecture. Otherwise, you're looking at two disparate parts of an organization. That's as much as I've got to say.
Thank you. Now, on that, Charles, so how you spell, if I want to get more information on, say, Kant for my reference, it's how you spell Kant. So K-E-N-T?
K-A-N-T.
K-A-N-T. Okay, I'll take a look. Was not aware of his work.
I developed a slideshow showing how Kant's Critique of Pure Reason can be implemented, and how all enterprises who've tried to implement things like Zachman, TOGAF, even Drucker, if you try and look at how they try to implement it, they don't. They've ignored him totally. And this is the problem as far as I'm concerned. If you ignore Kant, you can forget about everything else. You can try your own tricks. It ain't going to work.
Great. No, thank you. Thanks for sharing. We'll take a deep look, and I'll personally reach out if I need some more input. So thank you. And Warwick, anything else? Sorry, you go.
Yeah, no, look, I hadn't heard of CAMP myself, but I guess sort of translating that into the way I see it as well, you need to tie it back to the business organisation and strategy so that when you do start designing your processes and systems and KPIs for that matter, they're done in a way that actually drives that collaboration across departments. So you get the more of that holistic approach. You don't have these silos of people working independently and systems independent and databases independently. People need to work as a team, so the systems need to work as a team as well.
And what has been your experience in that aspect, Warwick?
So as I mentioned before, I keep touching back on mining because mining's a very big, complex process, and it's filled with lots of clever people who like to go out and do their own thing because they're experienced in buying their own systems and so on. They start off with Excel spreadsheets. We're in their sort of early phase of development, but they buy various other things. Stop laughing, Jess. They end up with this hodgepodge of systems and data sources as well. And trying to change that behaviour when it's almost ingrained in that sort of industry is very difficult, I think. You need to be able to demonstrate the value you bring by having that more long-term view of things and the benefits of, having that synchronization of systems and data right from the start. But that, as I say, it's a very difficult thing to try and break when it's so endemic in the industry as well. Other industries like finance, science, and so on, I think are a bit better off because they've been applying IT for longer and have seen the value in it. Whereas in mining and so on, it's been more of a side issue. It's been a cost, not seen as a value add.
Mm-hmm. Yes, though I see that in mining there is an investment in individual disciplines of PMOs and architectures and business analytics and analysis. So in the individual, it seems like there is a silo within silo where these disciplines perhaps don't talk to each other or may have minimal influence over each other. Do you see that?
Yeah, I do. As I keep coming back to BHP, they have their corporate IT department, which at one stage was over 2,500 people, I think. But then they have the IT people at each site, mine operation site as well, and they're sort of battling each other all the time. There were situations where we were trying to engage with the mine operations people and be happy to talk to us, but they wouldn't want to talk to corporate IT. They saw them as a blocker. And so they want to go off and do their own things so they can achieve their results and meet their KPIs, which unfortunately are not set up in a way to force that collaboration. They're set up to have that individual department improving, but at the expense possibly of something else. So it doesn't give you the right result.
Yes. Yeah, it's more of a management issue that must be resolved because I think investment is going, but that the individual management and the structure does not support that collaboration.
No, I think this really came to light when I was managing Woodside accounts, and the comment was made that they all operate in silos there, and they had SAP in place for many years. I worked on initial implementation there, and they would often take it apart and structure it, take away all the standardized processes because they thought they were special. They were different from every other oil and gas company. There was maintenance systems in SAP, but they would go and use their spreadsheets for tracking parts of things. They wouldn't use the system. So very hard to change that.
Yes. No, it resonates well, Warwick. Stephen, over to you.
So I had to laugh. Yeah, I've done some work with Woodside and some BHP over the years, but yes, Woodside definitely do see themselves as special. But I think a lot of organizations do, and that's the challenge. They think they're the exception and not the rule, and that the value is going to outweigh the risk for them of doing this. The only time I've seen some level of uniformity, some level of unity around a software strategy is where the leadership team have come together around the risk and the opportunity, and they understand that risk. They understand the challenges long term of releasing people to go and procure things through alternative channels. But again, really challenging because everyone wants to be that, there's always that super profitable part of the business that gets a license to operate differently. There's always those sort of things that happen. So really tricky work to be done. I don't know if it can be solved at the grassroots. I think what Charles was saying as well, it starts really at the top, at an organizational level.
Leadership. Yep.
Absolutely.
Right. And I think, yeah, that can be the topic for upcoming lunch and learns. And yeah, I think that's what we do. I have been asked on few, okay, what is that a marketing strategy? I said, no, it's a dialogue. So we come get together and talk about things that matter with like-minded people. So there is no sales, there is no nothing. We talk about things that matter to us. Great. I think this is great feedback, and that's exactly what we want to see in these sessions. We speak from heart, and what we see, there is no formality to anything, and we learn from each other and yeah, collaborate where possible. Anything else before we wrap up? And
Thanks for setting this up, Sabri. Just wondering how often you're planning on having these.
it's each month. We are doing from last 10 months or so, and you will hear from Harley for the upcoming session. And yeah, each sessions are planned already. We'll reach out in a few weeks for the next session.
Okay, thanks.
Sorry,
Great.
just to make one comment. Warwick mentioned spreadsheets. I remember back in 1984, I think it was. I was the timeshare coordinator for Citibank in Sydney, and they were running on Burroughs B3500s, and they had two of them. One as a backup machine, and one for their actual production machine. The backup was for timeshare, and it was those days we never had Excel spreadsheets, but someone had developed a spreadsheet program running on a Burroughs B3500 mainframe. Because all the users were now pumping data into their spreadsheets killed that machine. That machine went down more often than it was up, because the spreadsheet was the programs were not designed by professionals. There was no proper database design. So I understand in those days with spreadsheets, and today the spreadsheets haven't made any difference. A spreadsheet is just another database. It's got rows and columns, and that's it. So I can smile at that one with your spreadsheets.
Yes. Now we see that in different ways, and I think the human nature remains same. We're trying to find ways around the system to be quicker and less painful. So human nature hasn't changed. Great. I think that's all, and we'll touch base within few weeks. Please register, and I would love to see you all in the next session as well.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Cheers.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Cheers. See you.